Okay, so I have a nice trash to treasure piece here I found, and I was going through some work and found this one. The only problem I might have is it looks like right here is some acrylic ink, but I honestly think this is from filling bottles for my art classes. If you're interested in those, you could go to kalninarts.com. But anyways, so I save these and I like to play with them. And a lot of times I'll find something really pretty within these weird random pieces. So I'm gonna I have an airbrush and I also have a straw. And as always, I would advise you to use safety with alcohol inks. And I do have a respirator that I use at times, but sometimes, as long as I'm well ventilated, I will use a straw. So that's, that's just me. But always be safe, please. I've got some diluted inks and probably going to use those as well. I think first I'm just going to start out with a little bit of alcohol. And I'm just going to put it in the middle and just kind of blow out and see a little bit of what happens here and where I'm going to go. So I'm starting in the middle. I think that down here I have some foliage, so I'm just gonna put some dots of alcohol down here, blow that around a little bit. You can call it leaves or whatever. And a little bit more. Not much happening. This has probably been sitting for a year or so, so it's pretty dry down there. Spread it out. There, now it's getting somewhere. So now I think I'm going to take a full strength ink. What do I have? A sailboat. Looking for something blue. Denim. Let's try that. So this is a Ranger ink. And this is denim. And I mix my inks up. I use a lot of Pinata inks, especially in my glass classes. I prefer to use the Pinatas on glass because the pigment is just wonderfully strong. Let's see if we got a little bit of glare. There we go. All right. So let's just work with this. play around here because I'm trying to take something that was what I thought was a fail and make it a success. And a lot of these won't end up that way, and that's okay. And then we just put them aside for another day. But really, with your alcohol ink projects, if you are not happy with something, just put it aside. And I promise you, you will learn a new technique, or see something on one of your groups that you like, and you're going to try it, and you're going to turn something like this into something beautiful. So I'm going to use a little bit of these diluted inks. I've got a Sunbright Yellow by Pinata. Just going to kind of shoot that out there. That's like incredibly dark on the top. So get rid of a little bit of that. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is remove a little bit of ink. And you can do that with newspaper. And I'm looking around and I don't have newspaper up here. So I'm going to use a paper towel, and that's going to give me lines. But it's also going to give me some texture. So I'm just taking this paper towel, putting a little alcohol on it, squish it up a little bit. Move this down. Kind of just press on. Okay, so that gives a little bit of a different look. I'm just going to kind of go around a little bit with that. Fold it up. And one more time. Okay. So we have this bottle thing going on up here. I'm going to get rid of that. And actually, I'm going to bring a little bit back in. That is a huge amount of concentrated ink right here. So I have to think about this for a minute. I'm going to dry it. My airbrush. And you know, take your airbrush back and forth, because that will give you some interesting lines and patterns. This might just be a abstract piece. I was looking to do a floral, but I'm not sure. Bring some back in. Okay, well, it's like, what do we have here? I'm going to just drop some alcohol in the middle, quite a bit. You can see it pooling. And so I have pitch black, Ranger pitch black. Shaking her up. Put a couple drops in the middle. And as you can see, my house is not level. I'm going to blow it out. Okay, and as I look at this, I'm seeing that, oh, sorry about the glare. Seeing that this might be a real good cropping exercise here. More alcohol. And the airbrush, you can make kind of nice lines with it, so let's go with that. Maybe we have a dark bloom. Just crop out the rest. We'll see what happens. Airbrush can give you some petals. Oh, that's kind of cool. Kind of like it. Alcohol. Just going to bring that out. Or in, as the case may be. Putting the air right up close there. This pitch black has a lot of amazing tones. Definitely a good one to play with. My thing is layering, and I layer and layer and layer. And a lot of people like to just do their inks and just, I'm going to use this color and it's going to make petals and we're going to do a middle. I layer, and I layer the heck out of it, and often have much better success. And you know what? If you don't like it, just layer some more. That's kind of my way of approaching this. So I'm seeing all this ink over here, and it's really beautiful, but it's kind of useless at this point because I'm kind of focusing right here. And remember, I started with a piece of paper that I think I filled ink bottles on for my classes, so. All right, let's play with this a little bit. We're just going to make a couple of stripes with the alcohol and just kind of go back and forth. Get a little leaf action there. Very abstract. So now I've got all this ink over here, and I have nothing here. So I'm going to take a little bit of my diluted yellow, put that up in the corner. I hope I can be quick. A little alcohol. Just give it a couple spritzes, and let it come down a little bit. And now as I'm working, I think I'm going to take this over. I'll bring some over this way if I can. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to fill up these spots. I don't like blank spots necessarily. Sometimes I do, I guess it depends. All right. So what do we have here? All right, I'm going to put some more alcohol in the middle, and I'm going to take my straw. I'm going to blow out a little bit. Take my airbrush and bring in some lines. Right down real close to the paper, real close to the paper. There, now we're gonna get into that weird corner, back up into that magenta. Here, I want to bring that down. That's bugging me. There we go. That's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to take a little bit of the pitch black and put it in the middle and drop. I'm going to take the airbrush and kind of try to keep it in a smaller circle there, so we'll just go around the outside of it. You see I have this, remember I said I had this acrylic or something going on here. It's pretty much covered up. I don't really care about it much. When this is photographed, it's going to be really pretty for prints, I think. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on. I'm going to get a straw. It's going to go on the edge. Quick blow. Down. So notice I'm going to orient my flower this way. So I'm not going to go on the top because I feel like I want some light to come down. And I think I want to go ahead and bring a little more light in. All right. I'm going to take my airbrush, dry that all off. Kind of a little, from blowing out, I have a little cool center there and I like it. Alright. So I've got a little bit of, well, a lot of white acrylic. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on the side here. Just a dab. I always put too much out, but it's kind of difficult. And I've got these little tools for makeup or cleaning your teeth. And I use these for blooms, and a lot of artists do. So, well, I guess I have some out. So I'm just dipping into my acrylic paint. I'm going to stand up so I have a better view here. And I'm just going to dot a little bit. Try to make that center. And if you notice, it picks up the ink color, and that's completely fine because we are nowhere near through at the center. Just dotting around a little bit. So in the middle, I think I'm gonna it's not dry. I'm just going to take one drop of this diluted Baja Blue, put it in the middle, let that stew for a second. And take the airbrush and go over it. I'll come down a little bit and see if I can move that white. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my tool with my white acrylic, dot a little bit. It's kind of skewed, so it's sideways, so it's making kind of rectangular little shapes, which I kind of like. I want to go back with that blue, put another drop in the center, and this is diluted. It's probably 3 to 1, maybe more alcohol. Let's go ahead and go around. It's pretty much dry. Take a little alcohol, dot it on there, and see what happens. See where that goes. That's kind of the secret here, is letting it do its own thing. So I'm letting it go off to the side. I guess I'm going to spray out now. I wasn't going to, but there's more to do here. So now I'm going to take and put a little more alcohol in the middle. I'm going to just really blow it out. See what we got here. In there. I think we're going to crop this, so I'm not worried about this gigantic magenta looking thing there. Oops. I wonder. All right, let's try something new. Take a little bit of white acrylic and we're gonna come down. I am drying petals on with this acrylic. There is no secret to this, it's just up and down. I'll tell you a secret, acrylic with alcohol inks are amazing, and like hardly anybody does it. Look at the color that the paints pick up. Let's go a little in the middle. So as I'm doing this, I'm finding I want to focus on this middle part here. So I'm going to dry this. and, you know, do your own thing. And you're like, hey, there's no color in there, and there's not, and it doesn't matter. I think it's kind of amazing, to be honest with you. Bring it in a little bit. It's kind of pretty. And that's what this whole thing is about, is just taking a piece that we thought was junk and turning it into something interesting. So the longer I let this dry, the more color this acrylic is going to pick up, and you can see it's happened here. So I just want to maybe go in a little bit. But I don't want to too much, or it's gonna get super globby. So let's work on that center. So somewhere here it is. I have it's an acrylic pen, Artistro. It's blue. And I know I have a whole box of these somewhere, but I don't know where. So I'm just going to go in a little bit with this pen and make some, and it leaked. Make some dots. All right, I'm going to take a little alcohol then and go in there. So it shouldn't have leaked, but it did. So now I don't want to screw it up. So I'm just going to take the airbrush and try to push it in the middle. There we go. Push it a little more in the middle. And go around and get that dried. And I think that's going to be a really good base for the center. And it's lumpy and clumpy, and I don't even care. I think it's going to be gorgeous. And I'm looking over here. We've got a little bit of bleed through. So I'm going to take that. Maybe I can take this tool with the white, just a tiny bit here to this will actually take a while to dry, so there we go. Let's shove her down there. Alright, I'm going to go back with my acrylic and make some dots. The harder you push with these, the more texture you get. So you can kind of see that. I need beating on it. Try to get a little more white in the middle. Alright. So if we get down there, it's kind of what I have, and I kind of like it. And I'm going to trim it so you'll see the final product. But I think that's nice. It'll make a nice card or a nice small piece. And it started as junk and completely is different than I thought. And I really would have loved to have used this here. But I feel like if I keep overworking it, it's just going to turn into poop. So we're going to leave it at this. And I'm going to sign it. And I'm going to call it done. Thanks for hanging out with me.